Okay, so this is the last video I'm going to shoot on this series. And in this case, I took some code. Actually, what I did is I took this code here and I modified it. And then I've actually placed this new code right here. And what we need to do is we need to combine that original code with the navigation code we've just been working on. And that's what you see right here. So all these variables right here, of course, are going to be used for storing the data from the transmitters. Here we have all the variables again that are used for the various detectors and the LED light. I don't think I have anything new here you haven't seen before. There's the ones that allow us to change the speed of the wheels. Setup, all the same. We have to declare all those pins that the RC receiver's hooked up to. Again, I've attached it to these two pins, 2 and 1, the servos. I've set my defaults so that everything works good. I'm going to flash the light 10 times. This is kind of interesting here. Now, on the original RC software, I was in the loop constantly checking channels 1 through channels 5. Okay. In this case, I've commented it all out because when you really get down to it, the only thing I really care about, at least all the time, is whether or not that switch, or this switch here, has been flipped, okay, which is channel 5. And then we're going to make a decision based on that. So that's the only thing in the loop, is check channel 5. And if we go down here, you can see that if, for example, the channel 5 is greater than 1600, well, I'm going to turn on that LED on the motherboard, and we're going to run on autonomous, okay? And if it's not greater than 1600, well, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to run it on remote, which means I need to gather the data to these other 4 channels and then use the drive RC function. And the reason I do that is to keep in mind every single time that I take a data point from a channel, I'm going to be waiting somewhere around 20 milliseconds. Okay, so I mean right there, you're looking at 100 milliseconds of delay. And if you were checking these channels all the time while on autonomous behavior, you'd probably drive into the light. So we want to minimize these unnecessary delays and check only the one we absolutely need, which is that channel 5. The autonomous is a cut and paste from that last program I just ran. We're going to be slowly spinning the robot, looking to see whether or not it gets, or slowly spinning it until it gets a value from the photodetector, which indicates there's a light. Again, I've added this so. So not only are we checking the sensor, but we also have to frequently check to see whether or not the switch has been flipped. If it has been flipped, we need to break the program. Okay, we need to break the loop. All this stuff, I think, is identical. Okay, so I'm incrementing it by 5 or decreasing it by 5, depending on which threshold or which sensor has the greatest amount of light. And I have slowed this down a little bit so you can see that I reset the values every time it goes forward, and it goes forward for 10 milliseconds before this loop repeats. This all remains the same from the original program. This all remains the same from the original program. And then I've copy and pasted all these forwards and reverse and slow turn rights and slow turn lefts into this code, and all that I think remains the same. I just copy and pasted the check sensor. In this case, I'm still doing that averaging because that was a little annoying when it would twitch. I set my threshold now to 400 because I wanted a little bit further away from the light. Here's a print sensor option, which we only use for diagnostics, and a print RC option, which we only use for diagnostics. So I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up and we'll give it a test drive. And let me pause it and I'll see you in a second. Okay, this will be a little bit challenging. I'm going to try to drive it while watching the video. So I'm not looking at the robot, I'm watching the video. And I'm going to drive it out here someplace. And then I'm going to flip the switch to autonomous. And then drives up. Now I'm going to put it back into manual, and I can drive it away. Let's do that one more time. Flip it to autonomous, and okay. So everything works really well, and hopefully that was informative, and I'll make sure everything's posted, and I'll see you guys again soon.